President Trump announced late today that the United States has sunk a boat after it left Venezuela carrying drugs. It is the first known military strike in the region since President Trump ordered an increased military presence in the Caribbean. Nick Schifrin's following all this, and he joins me now. So, Nick, tell us, what do we know about this strike?
President Trump said that the U.S. Navy operated against that boat that you said that was operated by Tren de Aragua. That has been designated by the administration as a foreign terrorist organization. And the president posted this video on Truth Social this afternoon saying 11 members of the group were sailing toward the United States carrying illegal drugs. And attached to the video, he wrote, quote, "Please let this serve as notice to anyone even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Multiple exclamation points. Now, as you said, Amna, President Trump this summer ordered a large Navy and Marine deployment to the area. You see some of the ships there. A Navy official says it includes destroyers, cruisers, as well as smaller ships capable of launching Marines onto shore. And in total, it's thousands of service members, including submarines. The administration describes it as a drug mission and uses the language of war, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio did today.
We destroyed a drug boat that left Venezuela, operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization, which is what these are. And he's been clear that the days of acting with impunity and having an engine shot down or a couple drugs grabbed off a boat, those days are over. Now we are going to wage combat against drug cartels that are flooding American streets and killing Americans.
Now, that said, regional experts tell me the drug trade is highly decentralized, and fighting it is not usually a military effort. It is traditionally seen as law enforcement. So there are economic tools, there are diplomatic, political tools, and tools used by the Drug Enforcement Agency. So that is what fundamentally has changed. It is the U.S. Navy, not the Coast Guard and the DEA, taking these steps. The nature of the military deployment, though, means that some experts believe this is a message or a threat to Nicolas Maduro, the head of Venezuela, whom Trump accused of controlling multiple gangs, including Tren de Aragua, and whom Trump tried to depose during the first term by backing an opposition figure. Reporters asked Rubio that specific question today, whether the U.S. would operate against Maduro. He said, look, this is a counter-drug operation, but he wouldn't discuss any future operations.
And has there been any response from the Maduro government in Venezuela?
There has not been today to this strike, at least not in a couple hours, but just yesterday, Nicolas Maduro gave a rare press conference. He described the military deployment by the Trump administration as proof the administration was seeking regime change, and he tried to paint Rubio, not Trump, as the aggressor.
Mr.
President Donald Trump, you must be careful because Marco Rubio wants to stain your hands with blood. South American, Caribbean, Venezuelan blood. They want to drag you into a bloodbath, to tarnish the Trump name forever with a massacre against the Venezuelan people, with a terrible war across South America and the Caribbean. This would be a full-scale continental war.
Maduro trying to paint this clearly, Amna, as an inevitable U.S. military effort against Venezuela, which the Trump administration says is not on the cards right now.
Nick Schifrin, thank you as always.
Thank you.
And we end today with growing tensions between the United States and Venezuela. In a dangerous escalation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has announced the deployment of more than 4.5 million militia across the country. Maduro's remarks followed reports suggesting that the United States has deployed guided missile destroyers off Venezuelan waters. The move aligns with the Trump administration's bid to cut down drug trafficking. And the U.S. has also raised the bounty on Maduro's arrest to $50 million from the previously imposed $25 million. Now, onlookers are wondering if this latest standoff is a prelude to something bigger. Our final story explores.
4.5 million militia members, prepared, activated and armed, will be out marching in cities across Venezuela. This is Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's special strategy to counter threats from the United States.
This week, I will activate a special plan to guarantee coverage with more than 4,500,000 militiamen throughout the national territory. Militias prepared, activated, and armed.
He has also activated the new peace squadrons to guard Caracas and patrol its neighborhoods. These units comprise the police, the military, and community organizations.
El plan que estamos desarrollando de activación.
The militia is integrated into all peace quadrants. With the plan we are developing to activate the militia throughout the country, from north to south, from east to west, and all defensive capabilities so that no one will ever touch Venezuela.
Al Goliat asesino.
But why is Venezuela up in arms? And what is this US threat that Maduro is referring to? It started with US President Donald Trump's vow to wipe out foreign cartels trafficking drugs into American borders. Washington launched anti-drug operations across Venezuela. The US also announced a bounty on Nicolas Maduro, doubled it to $50 million, and seized assets linked to him.
The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco-traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million.
The US says Maduro is one of the world's largest drug traffickers and a threat to its national security. It accuses Maduro of leading Latin American drug trafficking gang Cartel de los Soles. So America wants Maduro behind bars. The Trump administration has also imposed sanctions against the Maduro government and Cartel de los Soles and accused the gang of shipping hundreds of tons of narcotics into the United States.
Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country.
The US military has also reportedly deployed several naval vessels, including guided missile destroyers, to waters off Venezuela. 4,000 military personnel have also been reportedly deployed. The Trump administration says the action is part of its broader anti-narcotics campaign. As Maduro remained defiant, Washington even targeted the Venezuelan economy. The Trump administration announced a 25% tariff on imports from the countries buying Venezuelan oil or gas. In 2020, during Trump's first presidency, Maduro and his allies were indicted by a US federal court on drug charges, including those of involvement in a narco-terrorism conspiracy. The Venezuelan government, however, denies these accusations.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Lili Tellez a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians. That includes President Sheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum responding, saying, quote, "It's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention." Here to discuss is that Mexican Senator Lili Tellez. Senator Tellez, welcome to Fox Noticias. I'm just going to get right to it. Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
Yes, the party has financed, has given, the cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect. The Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. And also Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico. We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela. She is aligned with Venezuela's dictator, with Cuba, and we are losing our country. They have destroyed our Republican institutions, the democratic state, and we must, I think we all Mexicans want and welcome the support of the United States to assist Mexican people against the cartels that have us all in this crisis with the traffic in fentanyl and migrants.
So her response to this, and I know this because her spokesperson came on our show in response to your interview, and they say, well, we just turned over 26 cartel members. We're working, we're sharing intelligence. What are they not doing? And why is she so resistant? She sort of speaks out of two sides of her mouth. We're working with you, Trump, and then she's chastising you for saying we need more help from the United States to crush the cartels.
Because she really doesn't want the help of the United States. She is lying to Mexican people, telling Mexican people that the United States will get in control of the whole country.
Right.
I never listened such nonsense from President Trump. What we have listened is that President Trump wants to help Mexican people against the cartels. Mexican people are suffering. So what they do is very, very little. We have huge narco politicians here in the Senate, in the presidents, governors. Mexico is a very dangerous place.
Well, that brings me to my next question, because you are speaking very bluntly, very clearly about Mexico being a narco state and the alliance and the connections to the president of Mexico. Are you afraid for your life?
Yes, I am afraid. And the president has threatened me to proceed against me with criminal prosecution, to get me out of the Senate and get me in jail, just because I told you in this space and Fox News what is the reality of our country with the cartels. The cartels are dominating everything here in Mexico. They are in all the offices of the government, in the states, in the cities, and in the national government. So, of course, I am afraid, but I want people to know I will not step back. And I pray under God's guidance that we, the United States and Mexico, must work together to defeat the cartels and to get freedom for our country, for Mexico, to stop it from being the next Venezuela.
Senator Lily Reyes, a very brave woman indeed. Thank you so much for coming on our show and speaking the truth.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
You got it.